Hi everybody, if you're new to my channel, I am Lori, and you are watching. Hi everybody, welcome to my mid-month wrap-up. I read a total of 9 books. I didn't add them up or anything like that. But all of them were really good this month. I had a couple that were a little disappointment just because I had them up on such a high level and they kind of fell a little bit. But they were all even if they were more like a 3.5 or a 3.75, I rounded it up. Like the one that I'm going to talk about first, I rounded up to a 4. But it was just not what I was expecting, and it threw me, and I just didn't, So let's get started. The one I'm talking about is The Darkness Outside Us by Elliot Schaffer. It's about these two guys that are in space, and the one guy is sent to try to get, I forget where it is, but to another place to save his sister because they got a distress signal. And it's also a romance between the two guys, but it just wasn't what I was expecting. I thought it was just going to be romance and just have a mystery filled through to it, but I didn't think it was going to be the way it was. I don't want to spoil anything, so it's kind of hard to talk about what it was that just was not for me. But I know a lot of people love the twist of what was really going on, and I was like, huh? And it kind of confused me. And at first I was going to give it a 3-star, and then I was looking at people's reviews, and then I figured out okay, now I understand what's going on. But I was so lost at times, and it just pulled me out of the story. So yeah, but it was still really good. I mean, like I said, it was a 3.5, and I rounded up to a 4 on Goodreads. I really loved, I forgot their names. Ambrose and Kodak, something like that. But yeah, so. Yeah, the romance was so good, but just like I said, certain things just threw me, and it just wasn't what I was expecting it to be. The next two I'm going to talk about together because they're graphic novels and they're in the same series, and that is Heartstopper Volume 2 and Volume 3 by Alice Oseman. And this is about Charlie and Nick and their romance, how they meet, and all that stuff, and just, it's everyday life, They go to school, they have best friends, they have people that bully them, the one, and all this stuff, it's just so real. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh, it just makes you all feel warm and fuzzy, but also sad, and yeah, and it has so many things that make you happy, but so many things that make you sad and cry, and yeah, it's just beautiful relationship that Charlie and Nick have. I just love their relationship, and I just love their family, and yeah, I just love how real the story is. Trigger warnings, for bullying and some other stuff that are more triggering, but I know a lot of people are think that trigger warnings are spoilery, so I'm just going to mention that one, but there is some other more very big triggering ones besides just bullying. But it's so real, and it's stuff that goes on, and it needs to be talked about. So Volume 2 I gave 4 stars, but I gave it a 4.5, but rounded up to 5 on Goodreads. This one I gave a full 5-star. Beautiful. This one pulled at my heartstrings. I just wanted to hug them both and just tell them, you guys are so cute, and I hope you guys, your relationship really works, and you guys stay together forever, and I just want to love on them and just give them kisses and just tell them everything in this world will be all right. You have each other, just love each other, be with your families, you know, love your family, you know. As long as you have your family support and you have one another, then don't worry about the outside world. But of course, I have to worry about the outside world, but still, you know what I mean. Like, they're just like my babies. Like, I just want to protect them and just hold them and just like let them, if they have to cry, just let them cry on me, and just, oh, I just love them so much. Like, oh my God, Charlie and Nick are just, mwah. And Charlie, oh my gosh, Charlie. Oh, I don't know, you guys. Like, I just love this so much. And I have 4, even though it don't come out until like November, I think. I know towards the end of the year here in the States, but they do have it at Book Depository, and that's where I got mine for them. So I'm gonna definitely either read it this month or next month. Like, I gotta get like caught up and see how, because I know a lot of people talk about 4, and we're talking about like it's so beautiful but heartbreaking, and I just have a feeling that it might be a favorite book of the year from how people are talking about it. So I'm super excited to read it and see what happens next. But the only bad thing is then I gotta wait a while for 5. Yeah, but yeah, these I recommend if you have not read these. Oh my God, French Kiss. Each book gets better and better. The first one was a 4-star. Second one 4.5, rounded up to a 5. The third one a full 5. But yeah, I just wish The Darkness Outside Us would have been a 6 or a 5. Like, I thought it was going to be either a 5 or a 6, and it didn't work out that way. Like I said, that's the only reason why it disappointed me, but it was still a good book. Okay, the next one we're going to talk about is The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta. This one I gave, Atta? I gave this one 4 stars. This is the first book I've ever read that was in verse, and I'm not used to that. I think I need to read more verse books. And I also, not really into poetry, and it has that poetry feel to it. But I loved hearing about Michael's story and him coming out. I think he's trans, if I'm not mistaken. Is he trans? I believe he's trans. I don't want to like have the wrong, you know. So let me know down below if I'm wrong and he's not trans. I'm pretty sure he's trans. But I just loved his story, and I loved finding out about how he became the Black Flamingo, how it came about. And I love Michael, and I loved the relationship that he had in this book, or they had in this book, sorry. And yeah, I just really like love the book, but I just am not like super into flowery things, but I still really loved it. I definitely want to read more books in verse. So if you have any recommendations, I would really appreciate it. And if you have any recommendations on books that have drag queen aspects of it, because I love the drag queen aspect of it. And I just read, this year I read Death Prefers Blondes, which is one of my favorite books of the year. And that had, it was a heist, and also had, like I said, oh my gosh, I just said the name. Why did I forget the name of it, you guys? I just said the name. Drag queen. Yeah, drag queen. And it had the drag queen element to it, and it was so good. So if you have anything like, any more recommendations on drag queen books or books in verse, let me know, because I definitely want to read more. And I think if I would be more like educated with the verse, like if I was more into it, because like I said, this is the first time reading a verse, that maybe if this was like later down that I read it, I probably would have liked it more, because I would have been more used to it. But I thought it was still really beautiful. I love, like I said, Michael's coming out story, and I just loved it. Like, Michael just like melted my heart. I definitely, 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 definitely recommend this if you have not read it, because it's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful. 4 stars. The next one, I did a read and vlog for this one by itself, and in the vlog I gave it 6 stars, but I have since decided that I'm going to lower it just because I'm talking about One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I just could not, in real honesty, give it 6 stars when I didn't like this as much as Red, White, and Royal Blue. It didn't stick with me as much as Red, White, and Royal Blue did. But I still really loved it, don't get me wrong. I still gave it like a 4.5, rounded up to a 5 on Goodreads, but it just was not a 6 star like Red, White, and Royal Blue was. I cannot give it 6 stars when I don't have that like even close of a reaction as I did as Red, White, and Royal Blue. Because Red, White, and Blue, I mean, I just love that book so much. It stuck with me, and I still like read it all the time, and I just love the relationships in that book, and I just cried, laughed, a whole bunch of different emotions in that book. And this one didn't quite get me there. But this is about August and Jane. August and Jane. August just moved to, is it New York? Somewhere. And I think it's New York. And she's on this subway, and she comes across Jane. And she comes to find out, it's not a spoiler because it tells you right there that Jane is from the 70s, and she can't leave the subway. And it's her fall in love with Jane, and also trying to find out why is Jane stuck in the present. And yeah, it's her trying to figure that out and seeing if she can send her home or if she would stay in the present. It's very beautiful. Like, I loved August and Jane. I didn't have issues like a lot of people did where they didn't really like warm up to August, but I loved August and Jane. I just didn't love them as much as the side characters. Like, there was some side characters that just like stole the show from them. And in Red, White, and Royal Blue, that didn't happen. Like, the 2 main characters in there, I loved the side characters, but they didn't overshadow the main characters, and I just felt like some of the characters overshadowed Jane, and I was just more into some of these other relationships. Like, I wanted to find out, what is the one person's name? Let me see if I can find the person's name. Wes. I think it was Wes, if I'm not mistaken. I wanted to see who Wes would get with, and again, some of the other characters, I just like was so much more enthralled with their plot line and who, if they were gonna get with who, and yeah. So yeah, that's the only thing. So I couldn't, honesty, whatever you want to say, give it more than a 4.5, rounded up to a 5. But yeah, I still really, really loved it, and I'm still really glad I read it, and I cannot wait for the next book that Casey writes, because she's definitely my new like favorite author, romance author. So, Chef Kiss. Let's see, which one do I want to talk about next? We'll talk about the 2 that are 5 stars, and then we'll talk about the last 2 that are 6 stars. Let's go with Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I love Simon and Blue. I don't want to say who Blue was, but I figured it out. And it was so easy for me to figure out. But at the same time, I thought I was wrong. I was just like, okay, yeah, okay, could it be that simple? And it was that simple. That's all I'm gonna say. But I just love finding about I mean, I just love finding out about these two. And I also watched the movie. Love the movie. I think the movie, if this would have been the movie, I mean, if this would have been told exactly like the movie, this would have been a 6-star. I just really love the movie so much. I liked like how it ended in the movie and how him and Blue came about better in the movie. But I just still really love this book. Like, it made me laugh, cry. I was just rooting for them, and I was just like, yes, please let it be this character. Please let it be this character. Please let it be this character, not this other character. And it was the character, and I was just so happy, and it just made my day, and this book just made me smile. But Simon is being blackmailed. This guy, he's like, if you don't help me do this, then I'm going to, like, rat you out. I'm going to rat out Blue, and, you know. And, yeah. And it was just so, the person I didn't really care for in the book was, his friend, what was her name? What is her name? Abby? No, not Abby. Is it Abby? I liked Abby. It was the other one. Oh my gosh. And I know there's a story about her. But I can't remember her name. What was her name? Lee. Yeah, I didn't really like her as much in the book, but I actually liked her in the movie. I was like, why can't we have her in the movie, her a little bit more? Like, I thought she was more relatable in the movie, and she didn't annoy me as much. But in the book, she was kind of like, ugh, please. And I heard that her book ain't very good, so I don't know if I'll read it. Let me know if you guys think I should read it down below. Maybe I will, but I'm just kind of worried about reading it. But I do want to watch, what's it called? Love Victor, whatever it's called. I do want to watch that, so I might do that. We'll see. But 5 stars. My other 5-star was The Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty. And the first book is, what is the first book? I always forget the first. The City of Brass. The City of Brass I gave, I think, a 4-star. I can't remember. But this one was completely a full 5. Like, I really love this book, and I'm rooting for a certain couple in this book, and I don't think it's the couple that everybody else was rooting for. I'm probably the opposite, because that happens. That's usually what I am. But I don't really can't really tell you too much about this one because it is the second book, but I just loved it. Like, I just thought it was a really good middle book. Like, a lot of times, you know, the middle book suffers from middle book syndrome, but no, this was definitely, to me, a lot better than the first one. Like, the first one, I didn't get into it until, like, the last 50, 100 pages, and I was like, ooh, now this is really gonna good. This one, it did take a little bit, because it's over 600 pages, but it was, like, so fast. Once I got, like, past 200, 250, like, the last, like, 300 pages or so was so fast-paced. I loved how it ended. I want to, like, I'm thinking about, like, picking up the last one and finishing it this month because I really loved this one. And I loved the ending, and I gotta see how it all ends, and I gotta see if the people I'm rooting for are gonna be together or if it's gonna be the other couple. So, yeah. But, yeah, I really loved it, and I'm excited to wrap it up and see how, like I said, everything ends. Okay, out of these, which one were my... these two are both tied. I don't know which one to talk about first. Cemetery Boys and In Deeper Waters. In Deeper Waters is by F.T. Lukens and Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. Both of these, favorite books of the month. 6 stars. Fantastic. Loved it. Loved the romance. Loved the like, what was going on with the plot. Everything. This one, oh my gosh, you guys, I almost cried at the end. I did figure out something, and I can't say because it will be a big, big spoiler, but I did figure out the twist, or the big twist, or whatever you want to say. But it was so, I felt so, I don't know how to say the main character's name, but Adriel, I know I'm totally butchering it. It's Yadriel. He wanted to be, I don't know how to say the word buha, how do you say it? So bad. And since he's trans, his dad and his grandma just didn't, it was hard for them to, how do I say this? It was hard for them to let him be a man and not a girl. They still thought of him, even though he didn't think of himself that way, they still thought of him as a girl. And they just couldn't let it go, and they wouldn't let him be a broho, or how do you say that word, because of it. And yeah, it was just so heartbreaking. And then his cousin gets killed, and he wants to like raise his spirit, and he accidentally raises Julian's instead, and they're trying to figure out what happened to Julian, how did Julian die, and what, like I said, what happened to his cousin. And yeah, it was just so beautiful. Like, there was times when I just wanted to cry so bad for Adriel, however you say the character's name, because they wouldn't let him be him. They wanted him to be her, you know, their little girl. And that ain't how he felt. He didn't feel like a girl. He felt like a guy. And he wants to be a guy. And they just could not, you know, it was just hard for them to let that go, that he wasn't their little girl anymore, that now he has to be their man, you know? And yeah. And it's just so beautiful, the story. Like, it's more than just like a, you know, like a mystery thrill to it. It's more of like, you know, his family even trying to come to terms. Do they? Will they? Won't they come to terms with this? You know, what happened to Julian? But also, Julian is, oh my gosh, I love Julian so much. And I just felt bad for Julian because he was, like, they made stories up about Julian and stuff, and they didn't know crap about him. But yet they made things up, and it was just so sad that you know, people would just make up such awful things about him, you know? And both of these guys needed healing. And I loved Adriel, how do you say his name? I loved his sister. So, I mean, not sister, his friend. I don't know if it's his friend or cousin. I forgot what, Maritza? I'm probably totally butchering her name wrong. But I love their friendship or relationship. I just love, like, how she was all for him. And it didn't bother her that he didn't want to be a girl, that he wants to be a man, he wants to be a guy. You know, it didn't bother her at all. She loved him, no matter if he was a boy, girl, whatever he wanted, you know. It didn't matter to her. She just loved him. And she just, like, what their relationship, and even her and Julian's interaction, so beautiful. Like, I just love these three so much. Like, yeah, I just don't know, like, which one's my favorite out of these two. But definitely 6 stars, definitely a favorite of the year. And then In Deeper Waters, another 6 star. This one has a whole bunch of different elements to it. It's about, I forget. I'm so bad. This was one of the first books I read. Athlin? Athlin? Something like that. He's a prince, and it's his coming out time, you know, to be a prince. I don't forget what it's called exactly, but like a tour that they do, and they come across Tal, and then he jumps overboard, Tal does, and Athlin, or how you say his name, thinks that he's dead until they go somewhere and he sees them, and before like they could really like start connecting and stuff, he's kidnapped. Athlin kidnapped, and the only one that would probably be able to save him is Tal. And it's their romance, and like there's mermen, there's mermaids, you know, there's what's it called, the queen, the witch queen, or the whatever you want to call the, like what Ursula was, I forget what it's called, but anyways, yeah, it was just so cool. Like there was so many different elements, and their romance was super cute. Like, yeah, I just really loved it. So these two were definitely my favorites. Favorites. They did not disappoint. I loved them. They were mwah, 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 chef kiss. Favorite 2 books, hand down, so far of this month. And that is it. I am so sorry this was a long video, but I just had a lot to say. And you guys know, if I said anything that you guys might find offensive, or if I like got missed, what's that word? Like, if I said like the wrong pronouns, will you guys let me know, please? Like, I don't get upset. I think that if I say something wrong, that I want to be corrected, for I will, you know, can start learning from that and make sure that I get the right pronouns and stuff. So if I did anything like that, let me know, please, because yeah, I don't want to hurt anybody. I try to you know, like, you know, try to see everybody's point of view, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. So yeah, just let me know if I said anything, misquoted anybody's, even the authors, like if I said the wrong pronouns for author, let me know too, please, because I want to make sure that I can work on that and make sure I don't do it again. But yeah, I just loved this month so far. 9 awesome books. None of them were like awful. So yeah, and I read 9 books so far. Yay! Let's see if I can get any more books read. Yeah. Okay. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what your favorite book so far this month is. How many books have you read this month so far? And yeah, give me some recommendations, like I said, for some more books in verse and more drag queen books. So I love that. And yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well. I don't know what day this will be up. I'm just recording it now, but I might not put it up until next week. We'll see. But I'll talk to you guys all later. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please think about subscribing.
Did you get ready in the dark or something? Because you look like a beautiful nightmare.